Sometimes the smartest move you can make is to say nothing. Not from weakness, but from a deep understanding that karma, it's got this. You don't need to intervene. In a world buzzing with reactions, explanations, and arguments, choosing silence is your superpower. It's not surrender. It's strategic strength. In this video, discover 7 critical moments when staying silent isn't just an option, it's your best defense. It safeguards your peace, broadcasts self-respect, and yes, lets karma do its thing. From biting betrayals to outright provocations, you're about to learn why your silence can be more deafening than any shout. Ready to master your emotions and live with fierce intention? Hit that like button and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom that works in the real world. All right, let's dive in. Number 1, when lies swirl around you, let your truth be its own defense. Few things sting with such personal violation as hearing lies spun about you. It's a direct assault on your character, a gut punch that can leave you reeling. Whether it's a supposed friend twisting reality behind your back, a colleague insidiously undermining your hard-earned reputation, or even an anonymous stranger online attempting to shred your credibility, the primal urge is to leap in, to correct, to defend, to scream your truth from the rooftops. It feels necessary. But hold that thought. The Stoics, masters of emotional fortitude, knew a profound secret. Not every battle demands your active engagement, especially when the unshakable truth is already your ally. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who lived his life under the relentless gaze of public scrutiny and political maneuvering, wisely wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after, and the truth never harmed anyone." His profound insight? Truth doesn't require your panic, your outrage, or your frantic explanations. It possesses an inherent resilience. It simply needs the passage of time and the steady beacon of your consistent integrity to shine through. Here's the Stoic masterstroke. When faced with a barrage of lies, your deliberate silence becomes your most impenetrable shield. Why is this so effective? Because engaging, arguing, and desperately trying to set the record straight often ensnares you in the liar's game, on their terms. It can inadvertently make you appear defensive, insecure, as if their baseless falsehoods might actually possess a kernel of truth. Silence, in stark contrast, broadcasts unwavering confidence. It's a calm, powerful declaration. I know who I am. Your words are fleeting noise. My character is enduring substance. I don't need to fight for my truth. I live it. Furthermore, constantly battling lies is emotionally exhausting. Silence conserves your precious energy for what truly matters. This isn't just ancient philosophy. It's a potent, modern power move. Consider Keanu Reeves. Over his long career, he's weathered relentless storms of gossip, bizarre personal rumors, fabricated stories about his professional choices, and scathing critiques from media outlets. His consistent response, a near-total dignified silence. No reactive social media tirades. No desperate interviews to clear his name. And instead, he focuses his energy on being present, on exuding kindness, and on approaching his work and life with quiet intention. He lives simply, gives generously, and treats everyone with unassuming respect. And the remarkable result? The public gradually tuned out the noise. The gossip lost its power. His silence, coupled with his consistent actions, became a more compelling testament to his character than any rebuttal could have been. Today, Keanu isn't just admired for his talent. He's revered for his profound dignity, humility, and unshakable calm. Qualities undeniably sharpened by his masterful ability to remain silent in the face of untruths. So, the next time you find yourself the target of lies, take a deep breath and pause. Resist the powerful, almost instinctual urge to react immediately. Don't allow them the satisfaction of pulling you down into their vortex of drama and negativity. Instead, place your trust in the enduring power of truth to eventually emerge, as it almost always does. Stay laser-focused on your core values. Let your consistent actions, not your fleeting words, be the ultimate revelation of your character. You don't need to shout to prove your integrity. You don't need to argue to be understood. In the end, silence, when backed by unwavering integrity, becomes a resonant force, far louder and more enduring than any lie ever told. That's the Stoic edge. And that is precisely how you allow karma, or the natural unfolding of consequences, to do its most effective work, without you ever needing to utter a single defensive word. Number 2, when betrayal strikes, walk away with quiet dignity. Betrayal, the word itself carries a chilling weight. It's an emotional wound that cuts deeper than most, capable of shattering your trust not just in others, but sometimes in your own judgment. It scrambles your expectations of loyalty and can even make you question your sense of identity. Whether it's a friend who turns their back in your hour of need, a partner who shatters sacred vows, or someone close who cruelly weaponizes your vulnerability against you, the aftermath is a raw, aching void. This pain often ignites an intense craving for confrontation, for answers, for them to truly see and feel the devastation they've caused. You may yearn for justice, for an apology, for a reckoning. But the Stoic wisdom in this agonizing scenario is both counterintuitive and profoundly potent. Walk away, not in a blaze of anger, nor mired in the quicksand of bitterness, but in resolute, dignified silence. Epictetus, a man who endured the brutality of slavery to become one of history's most revered philosophers, taught a fundamental truth. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. The act of betrayal has occurred. That is a painful fact, now outside of your direct control. But what you can control, and what truly defines your character and resilience, is your response. And very often, the strongest, most self-respecting, and ultimately most powerful response is no verbal response at all. It's a conscious choice to not participate in further pain. When you silently disengage from someone who has betrayed you, you are not being passive or weak. You are making an active, courageous choice for self-respect and self-preservation. You are non-verbally communicating with crystal clarity. I value myself, my peace, and my integrity far too much to fight for a place in the life of someone who clearly did not respect or value mine. That silent message, that dignified departure, they will hear it, not in a fleeting moment of argument, but in the deafening quiet of your absence, long after you've turned and walked towards your own healing. Engaging often gives them a platform to justify, deflect, or inflict more pain. Silence denies them that. Oprah Winfrey's journey offers a compelling real-world illustration of this principle. Early in her meteoric rise, she faced significant betrayals from people she had trusted. Colleagues who sought to undermine her, friends who proved disloyal, even business partners who underestimated her or tried to obstruct her path. Instead of engaging in public feuds or expending her energy trying to destroy them, Oprah made a different, more powerful choice. She quietly, decisively moved forward. She cut the necessary ties. She redirected her formidable energy. She continued with unwavering focus to build her empire, her influence, and her enduring legacy. And those who betrayed her, they largely faded into the background, their significance diminishing while she rose, undeterred, above the noise and negativity. Walking away in silence doesn't signal weakness or that the betrayal didn't matter. On the contrary, it signals that you are too strong, too self-aware, to be dragged down into someone else's chaos and moral failings. It signifies that you have faced the painful reality of what happened, processed it to the best of your ability, and have made the conscious decision to protect your precious peace instead of clinging to the wreckage of pain and disappointment. This isn't about seeking revenge. It's about profound self-preservation and reclaiming your power. And that's the essence of the Stoic approach in the face of such deep wounds. To respond not with consuming rage, not with plots of revenge, but with dignified restraint. To let your deliberate absence be your unambiguous closure. To allow your continued growth, your thriving, to be your most eloquent form of justice. And to trust that karma, or the universe's way of rebalancing, will once again handle the rest in its own time, in its own way. Number 3. When insults fly, respond with unshakable indifference. Insults are often the crudest weapons in the arsenal of the insecure. They are rarely launched to reveal an uncomfortable truth, but are instead carefully aimed to provoke an emotional reaction, to ignite your anger, to pull you into a demeaning argument, a pointless power struggle, or a moment of perceived weakness. When someone hurls an insult your way, your pride might instinctively demand a witty comeback. Your ego might nudge you to clap back, to vehemently prove them wrong, or to demonstrate your strength through immediate retaliation. But the Stoics, those ancient masters of inner calm, teach a radically different and far more powerful response. When insulted, stay resolutely calm, stay deliberately silent, and most importantly, cultivate and project genuine indifference. As the wise Epictetus pointed out with piercing clarity, remember that it is not he who gives the abuse that affronts you, but your judgment that it is an insult. Ari, pause and let that sink in. No one can truly offend you, diminish you, or steal your peace unless you allow their words to penetrate your inner defenses. The insult itself is just words. It has no inherent power unless you choose to imbue it with significance by your reaction. By consciously choosing indifference, by refusing to let their negativity take root, you instantly diffuse the insult's intended sting, and you rob the insulter of the emotional reaction, the satisfaction they were likely seeking. This wasn't merely an abstract, philosophical concept in the ancient world. It was a practiced art. Cato the Younger, a Roman senator renowned for his unwavering integrity and adherence to Stoic principles, was once publicly mocked and ridiculed in the Senate. His political enemies taunted him relentlessly, even questioning his sanity, all in a calculated attempt to provoke him into an angry, undignified outburst that they could then exploit. But Cato refused to take the bait. He remained remarkably composed, even reportedly smiling faintly at times. He understood their game, their desperate attempt to destabilize him, and by not reacting, by not validating their efforts, he subtly exposed their weakness, their desperation. His calm, dignified silence became a statement far more powerful, far more memorable than any insult they could conjure. Fast forward to modern times and consider the example of Michelle Obama. During her years as First Lady, she was subjected to a constant barrage of attacks, often unfair and deeply personal criticisms about her appearance, her words, even her very presence. Instead of being drawn into petty public arguments or engaging in retaliatory clapbacks, she consistently chose grace and composure. She famously articulated a principle that is pure Stoicism in action. When they go low, we go high. Ikri, that's an embodiment of power without needless noise, control without direct confrontation. It's refusing to descend to their level. When someone insults you, try to recognize the deeper, often unspoken truth. Their words frequently reveal far more about their own internal state than about you. Their anger, their sarcasm, their cruelty. It's often their own pain, insecurity, or frustration leaking out, searching for an external target. Don't absorb it. Don't carry it for them. Let them keep what they tried to throw your way. Because your silence, steady, confident, unbothered, and rooted in self-knowledge, says everything that needs to be said. It says, you don't define me. It says, your negativity cannot reach my core. And it declares, most powerfully of all, I've already won this exchange by refusing to play your demeaning game. That is the Stoic path. Not to fight every insult that comes your way, but to rise above all of them with unshakable dignity and with your inner peace gloriously intact. Number 4, when they play the perpetual victim, don't fuel their drama. We've all encountered them. Individuals who seem to wear their pain not as a wound to be healed, but as a suit of armor for manipulation or a script for a never-ending play. They expertly twist stories, subtly distort facts, and masterfully paint themselves as the helpless, blameless victims in situations they often had a significant hand in creating, or could have navigated differently. Their cries of foul are frequently not born from genuine, unmanageable woundedness, but are strategic maneuvers designed to elicit sympathy, command attention, or wrest control from others. And the most tempting, yet often most detrimental mistake you can make? Getting drawn into their narrative. Trying to correct their skewed version of the story. Attempting to expose their manipulation. But Stoicism offers a far wiser, more self-preserving response. Silence. This silence is not an admission of their truth, nor is it agreement. It's a conscious, powerful refusal to become a supporting actor in their meticulously crafted drama. The Stoic philosopher Seneca, who navigated the treacherous currents of Roman politics and personal tragedy, wrote with profound insight, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." He understood that in the face of manufactured drama, especially the kind built upon a foundation of false victimhood, silence is more than mere avoidance. It's a form of profound emotional and intellectual mastery. It's the cultivated discipline to internally declare, "Let them talk. Let them perform their monologue. I will not lend my precious energy, my attention, or my emotional resources to their theater of grievance." Those who consistently play the victim are often skilled at creating confusion and emotional entanglement. They provoke you into defending yourself, then skillfully twist your legitimate defense into further proof of their persecution or your aggression. The more you try to explain your position or clarify the facts, the more material they have to distort. It becomes an exhausting, never-ending loop of emotional warfare, draining your reserves and clarity. But when you choose to remain quiet, when you allow their words to hang in the empty air without your engagement, their performance, lacking the reactive energy it needs to sustain itself, eventually begins to collapse under its own insubstantial weight. Without an engaged audience, even the most dramatic act loses its power and its purpose. A striking modern example, though complex, can be seen in aspects of Johnny Depp's approach during the initial, intense media whirlwind surrounding his legal battles. While rumors and accusations spread with viral ferocity, for a significant period, he maintained a notable public silence. He didn't engage in reactive arguments on social media. He didn't release a flurry of angry counterstatements. Instead, he largely allowed the formal legal process and the passage of time to play a role in revealing different facets of the truth. Though the path was undeniably difficult and fraught, his initial restraint allowed space for alternative perspectives to eventually emerge, and for many to see the manipulative dynamics at play for what they were. His restraint in that context spoke volumes. By refusing to engage with false victimhood, you deny manipulators the one thing they crave most: your emotional investment in validation of their narrative. You stop feeding their storyline. You cease to be a reactive character in their self-serving drama. And in doing so, you reclaim your peace, your time, and your mental energy. Silence in this specific and challenging case is not weakness. It is formidable strength cloaked in wisdom. It is a clear refusal to fight battles that were never honest, never winnable on fair terms to begin with. And it is a steadfast commitment to your own mental clarity, your own emotional boundaries, and your own unshakable dignity. Because when someone attempts to weaponize their own real or imagined pain to control or manipulate others, the best, most stoic, and often most effective thing you can do is to calmly step aside, say nothing, and allow the unvarnished truth to unfold without your forced assistance. Number 5. When your worth is unseen, withdraw your light, let absence speak. One of the most quietly corrosive experiences in human interaction is the feeling of being unseen, unappreciated, or chronically undervalued. Whether it's in intimate relationships where your efforts go unnoticed, in a workplace where your contributions are consistently overlooked, or amongst friends where you feel more like an option than a priority, being ignored or taken for granted chips away insidiously at your self-respect and sense of belonging. The natural, almost primal urge is often to amplify your efforts, to demand recognition, to meticulously list your contributions, to try and prove your value, to remind others, sometimes forcefully, of what you bring to the table. But Stoicism, with its emphasis on inner locus of control, teaches a different, more dignified, and ultimately more powerful approach. When your worth is consistently ignored, it's time to quietly, deliberately step back. Withdraw your presence, your energy, your contributions from that space, and allow your absence to become the undeniable message. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca advised with timeless wisdom, if a person's worth is not recognized, the fault lies not with them, but with those who fail to see. This is a crucial reframe. It means your inherent value, your skills, your kindness, your integrity. These do not diminish or disappear simply because others fail to acknowledge them. Your virtue and worth remain intact, independent of external validation. The wise person understands that desperately chasing acknowledgement or trying to force others to notice you only diminishes your own power and can lead to resentment. By consciously and quietly removing yourself from environments or relationships where you are consistently undervalued, you achieve several things. Firstly, you protect your own spirit from further erosion. Secondly, you create a void. This absence isn't intended as a petty punishment, but as a natural consequence. It can, and often does, force others to confront, perhaps for the first time, what they have lost. The effort you consistently made, the kindness you freely gave, the unique talent or perspective you brought that they had become accustomed to and perhaps had begun to overlook. Instead of pleading for respect, you embody it by honoring yourself first. You set a standard for how you deserve to be treated by no longer tolerating being invisible. A powerful, albeit large-scale example can be drawn from the career of Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple. In the early stages of his journey, and even at certain points later, Jobs was often dismissed, underestimated, or had his vision questioned. But rather than expending energy begging for recognition or arguing his case endlessly, he focused on building, on creating groundbreaking products and shaping an empire that would undeniably speak for itself. When he was famously ousted from Apple in 1985, he didn't retaliate with public displays of anger or desperate pleas to be reinstated. He quietly went on to found Next and Pixar, proving his immense worth through undeniable achievements and innovation. His eventual triumphant return to Apple years later was a testament to his enduring, undeniable value. A value recognized not through his words of demand, but through the tangible results of his genius and the clear impact of his, then previous, presence and subsequent absence. Withdrawing silently in such situations is not a retreat in the sense of defeat. It is a strategic, self-respecting maneuver to protect your precious energy, preserve your dignity, and realign yourself with spaces and people who do see and appreciate you. It is a quiet but firm declaration. I know my worth. If you are unable or unwilling to see it, that is your loss to process, not my deficit to fix. It's a powerful living reminder that genuine respect cannot be demanded or coerced. It must be earned and recognized. And often, it is the quiet, dignified departure of the undervalued that finally commands that recognition, or solidifies for you that it's time to seek environments where your value is readily apparent. In the end, silence combined with unwavering self-respect often forces a quiet reckoning. Those who ignored you may come to regret it, or they may not. But regardless of their awakening, you will have already moved on to higher ground, a space where your peace, your value, and your contributions are your own, self-affirmed and untouchable by external neglect or dismissal. That is the Stoic way to reclaim your power and honor your worth, not by shouting for attention in the void, but by quietly, confidently stepping into and embodying your true value, even if it means stepping away. Number 6, when deliberately provoked, maintain unflinching composure, deny them their prize. Provocation is a deliberate, often insidious attempt to shatter your peace and elicit a raw emotional reaction. It's a calculated move designed to throw you off balance. Whether it manifests as a snide, cutting comment, a subtly disguised insult wrapped in a seemingly innocent remark, or an overtly aggressive confrontation, the core aim of provocation is to rattle you, to make you lose your composure, and ultimately, to make you lose control. Your natural instantaneous response might be a surge of anger, a sharp defensiveness, or an urge to retaliate in kind. But the Stoics, champions of inner equilibrium, teach a radically different and far more potent path. When provoked, strive to maintain your unflinching composure and consciously, deliberately refuse to give them the emotional reaction they so desperately seek. Epictetus, whose life experiences taught him profound lessons in resilience, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Or this is the cornerstone of emotional freedom. The provocation itself, the words, the actions of another, is external and often entirely beyond your control. But your reaction, whether it's calm and measured or explosive and regrettable, is entirely your choice. The true power, the real victory, lies in consciously choosing calm. It's about mastering your internal landscape, regardless of the storms raging outside. When you manage to stay composed in the face of provocation, you demonstrate not weakness or passivity, but profound inner strength and self-mastery. You show unequivocally that your inner peace, your emotional state, is not dictated by others' attempts to disturb it. By denying them the satisfaction of seeing you flustered, angry, or upset, the very reaction they are often aiming for, you effectively take away their power in that interaction. They are left with their own negativity, their attempt to destabilize you having failed. Often this can leave the provocateur frustrated, their tactic exposed, and their power diminished. They expected a fight, an emotional exchange, and you offered them nothing to latch onto. A globally recognized and profoundly inspiring example of this principle comes from Nelson Mandela. During his nearly 3 decades of unjust imprisonment, he endured unimaginable insults, constant threats, and relentless provocations meticulously designed to break his spirit and incite hatred. Yet through it all, Mandela largely maintained his extraordinary composure, refusing to respond with the anger or bitterness that his captors arguably sought. His quiet, unshakable dignity not only preserved his own immense inner peace and strength, but ultimately became a monumental force that helped dismantle apartheid and unite a deeply divided nation. Mandela's strategic silence and composure in the face of extreme provocation were not acts of surrender, but acts of profound resistance and immeasurable strength. When provoked, responding impulsively, emotionally, is akin to handing over the remote control of your emotional state to the other person. You allow them to dictate your feelings and actions. But when you respond with quiet composure, with a deliberate pause and a conscious choice not to engage on their terms, you take back that control. You demonstrate true mastery over your own mind and emotions, a definitive mark of Stoic wisdom and inner fortitude. So, the next time someone deliberately tries to provoke you, to push your buttons, to get a rise out of you, Remember this: your calmness is your most effective shield. Your deliberate silence or measured calm response is your superpower. And by steadfastly holding on to your peace, by refusing to be drawn into their emotional storm, you not only protect yourself, but also allow the natural consequences of their actions or karma to do its work without you ever having to lift an emotional finger. That's the essence of Stoic resilience. Choosing your reactions with wisdom and intention, and never ever giving others the power to unsettle your hard-won inner harmony. Number 7. When they finally regret losing you, protect your peace, don't re-enter the storm. There's a particular kind of bittersweet, sometimes tempting moment that can occur. When someone who previously failed to see your value, took you for granted, or caused you pain, finally has an epiphany. They realize, often only after your absence has made your worth starkly clear, what they've lost. In this moment of their regret, the temptation to return, to fix what was broken, to restore a connection that once felt important, perhaps even to reclaim a sense of validation, can be incredibly strong. It can feel like a victory, a vindication. But the Stoics, with their pragmatic understanding of human nature and the importance of self-preservation, offer a crucial warning against readily falling into this potential trap. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Herbe unum. While not strictly about revenge, the sentiment applies. Returning to a dynamic where you were undervalued or hurt, simply because the other person now expresses regret, often risks repeating painful patterns and sacrificing your hard-earned, precious peace. True strength in this scenario lies in fiercely protecting your well-being and possessing the wisdom to recognize when a chapter is and should remain closed for your own good. When they express their regret, acknowledge it if you wish, but let that regret be their burden to carry, their lesson to learn, not necessarily your cue to re-engage or rewind. Your continued silence or a polite but firm boundary communicated through your absence or minimal contact becomes a quiet but unequivocal declaration. My peace, my growth, and my well-being are now paramount, and I will not jeopardize them. Consider the journey of Malala Yousafzai. She faced tremendous, life-threatening opposition and rejection from elements within her own community simply for standing up for the right to education. When some resisted her message or abandoned their support, she did not expend her energy trying to win back those specific individuals or retreat from her convictions. Instead, she continued forward with an unwavering, quiet determination, focusing on her mission. In time, those who doubted or abandoned her were left to witness her profound global impact and the enduring power of her legacy. Malala's refusal to be drawn back into unproductive battles or to compromise her path for the sake of appeasing those who had failed to support her preserved her strength and allowed her vital mission to flourish unhindered. Going back to those who undervalued you, even when they express remorse, often means re-inviting the same old dynamics, the same potential for chaos, confusion, and emotional turmoil that led to the initial separation. It's a significant risk to your mental and emotional health, which you may have worked incredibly hard to restore. The Stoic path consistently encourages self-respect and self-preservation above the allure of reconciliation, if that reconciliation comes at the cost of your inner tranquility. It teaches that your peace cannot and should not be a bargaining chip in someone else's belated awakening. So when someone from your past resurfaces, filled with regret for losing you, pause and remember. Their regret, however genuine it may seem, is not automatically your call to action. It does not obligate you to reopen doors you wisely closed. Your primary responsibility is to yourself, to your present calm, your continued growth, and your future well-being. In this context, your silence can be your shield, your continued absence your clear statement, and your enduring peace the ultimate non-negotiable prize. Let karma, or the natural unfolding of life's lessons, play out in its own time. For them, you've already achieved a significant victory by choosing to protect your own soul and prioritize your journey forward. Thank you for watching. Remember, silence isn't about being weak. It's a profound tool to guard your peace, uphold your dignity, and allow life's natural justice to unfold. By mastering when to speak and when to embrace silence, you reclaim your energy and steer your life. If this Stoic wisdom resonated with you, please give this video a like and subscribe for more insights to help you live stronger, wiser, and calmer. Share your own experiences with the power of silence in the comments. I'm eager to hear how it has served you. Until next time, stay steady and keep mastering yourself.